Hi, it's Panda Movies here. Today I'm going to explain the horror movie called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Warning, there are spoilers ahead. Enjoy the video. The film begins at the scene of an inexplicable multiple homicide where the body of an unidentified young woman is discovered. Lieutenant Wade suggests that the victims were attempting to flee, but Sheriff Sheldon Burke says there are no indications of a forced entrance. From the scene of the crime, it cuts to Emma Roberts paying a visit to her boyfriend, Austin Tilden, and his father, Tommy, at the local coroner where they both work. Tommy shares to the couple the story of how coroners once tied bells to victims to make sure they were indeed dead and not just unconscious. They were then interrupted by the arrival of Sheriff Burke, who shows up with Jane Doe's unidentified body and informs Tommy that he needs the cause of death by dawn. As they get to work, Austin postpones the date he promised Emma later that night to help his father with the autopsy and meet the demands of the sheriff. As the father and son duo begin the autopsy, they quickly become confused, seeing that the body's wrist and ankles are broken with no obvious signs of damage on the outside. As they open her up further, they find out that her lungs are blackened, as if she had third-degree burns, her tongue roughly hacked out with one of her molars missing, and her internal organs show numerous cuts and scarring. As they looked further into her stomach, they found that it contained Jimson weed, a paralyzing drug that is not local to the area. Much of the body was in a state that suggested death had only recently occurred, but the corpse's eyes were cloudy, suggesting she had been dead for a few days. They get deeper into the autopsy when stranger things start to happen. Out of nowhere, the song "Open Up Your Heart" and "Let the Sunshine In" began playing on the radio repeatedly. Austin begins to see what seemed like people standing in the hallway of the morgue. He goes on to investigate what he was seeing and finds their cat, Stanley, mortally wounded. To put him out of his suffering, Tommy begrudgingly snaps Stanley's neck before reluctantly incinerating the corpse. Tommy continues the autopsy and discovers the woman's missing tooth in her stomach, wrapped in a piece of fabric. Roman numerals, letters, and an odd diagram are written on the fabric. The interior of her skin is covered in symbols that are similar. The room's lights all at once explode. They discover more corpses in the morgue have vanished during the explosion. They immediately try to escape, but the elevator stops working, and the exit door is blocked by a fallen tree. Still trying to find a way out, Tommy checks the bathroom, but a shadowy figure follows him and leaves him bruised all over. With no way out, they decide to check the autopsy room and look over the body once more. However, they are locked inside, and Austin uses an emergency axe to open the door so that they may escape. They can make out one of the missing bodies through an opening, so they immediately decide to burn the body. Unfortunately, they could not transfer the body to the cremation furnace, so they decided to burn it in there on the spot. Tommy uses an extinguisher to put out the raging fire, but is alarmed to discover that the body has not burned. Tommy and Austin attempt to leave the elevator as it restarts, but the doors will not shut. In a fit of panic, Tommy attacks what he thinks is one of the animated corpses with an axe, only to find out that he had killed Emma, who decided to come back for Austin. Austin is devastated with the death of his girlfriend, but they had no time to grieve, as they had very limited time to get out of the place alive. They head back to the examining room, certain that Jane Doe's body has been keeping them from learning the truth about her passing. Tests reveal that Jane Doe's brain tissue cells are still functioning, demonstrating that she is still alive in some way. Further investigation of the fabric reveals that the symbols correspond to the year 1693, the year of the Salem witch trials, and Leviticus 20:27, which punishes witches. Tommy and Austin claim that while trying to punish a witch, the Salem authorities accidentally turned a good woman into a witch who is now seeking retaliation. In the hopes that she will spare Austin, Tommy sacrifices himself to the corpse. Tommy's ankles and wrists break, resembling the wounds on the body. The corpse's own wounds start to heal as Tommy sustains injuries, possibly breaking her spell. Tommy grabs a knife to complete the rite by chopping off his own tongue. Austin, however, reluctantly kills his father by stabbing him in the chest. Austin tries to run away because he thinks he can hear the sheriff outside, but then realizes the voice is just another delusion. Austin is startled by the sight of Tommy's corpse and tumbles over the balcony, dying as a result. The following morning, when the police arrive, they find yet another bizarre crime scene. The body is transported to Virginia Commonwealth University, despite displaying no evidence of trauma. The corpse's big toe twitches when "Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sunshine In" is played on the ambulance's radio.